Good morning, everyone. My prayer for you today is that you know the benefits of being the Father's child. I know many of you already know those benefits, and that's a good thing because we know that He blesses us, He encourages our lives, He speaks into us, He gives us confidence and grace and forgiveness. The list of benefits go on and on and on and on. One of the nice things is about living where we live and how we live today is that when people go looking for jobs, they want to know, what's the benefit package? What do we get? Is there a signing bonus? Is it a large signing bonus? Our signing bonus when we become Christians, if I can put it that way, is that we are forgiven. That's the signing bonus right off the top. That's a biggie. That's the biggest one we can get. Along with that, then comes the Father's presence. Along with that, then comes the Father's joy, the Father's delight in us, His confidence, His peace, His presence, all these benefits. And so sometime, just sit down one day and just write out all the benefits that you believe the Father has given you. And then as you write them, realize that what you have written down are the actual realities of what God has done in your life. Now just don't, do Jesus, don't do Sunday school answers. I tell people all the time, don't do Sunday school answers. Because Sunday school answers are just things you take off the top. That's in some ways low-hanging fruit. No, do the hard things. Look at your life and say, Lord, you blessed me here. Lord, as I remember and call to mind, I remember what you've done. I remember the blessings that you've given me. These are the benefits you have given me. Some of us, I have friends who are not, actually, who's over 100 years old. That's a blessing. I have friends who've been married 50, 60, 70 years. That's a blessing. Lord, how have you blessed me? You've blessed me with children. Do those practical things. Now, what am I talking about here? Because we're looking at Psalm 1. And in Psalm 1, we're told how to walk with the Father, how to thrive, how to walk and to know Him. And so we get to verse 3, and we come to the whole idea of benefits. What are the blessings we get? Because remember, Psalm 1, there are 3 external actions we take. Those are decisions we've made. Then comes 2 internal disciplines that we practice to be in the Father's Word. We meditate on the Father's Word. There's a wonderful word for us in Psalm 119. It is this. It says, your word, your meditations as I meditate with you, they are the counselors of my spirit. They counsel me. Why? Because the Father brings His Word directly into us that we may know and enjoy and speak and let Him speak into our presence. And so we hear that. I shall delight in your word. I will not forget your word. Your testimonies are my delight. They are my counselors. So that's one of the blessings, that we have the counsel of the Father. But what does verse 3 say? Here's what verse 3 says. This person who practices these actions and disciplines will be like a tree firmly planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in its season, and its leaf does not wither. And whatever this person does, they will prosper. That's a tall order. But understand the imagery there of what the Father is saying. How He says, I want to speak into your life. The first thing is there's constant growth. Like a tree planted by a stream of water. Meaning that there's constantly a source of nourishment. Even in calamity, you continue to grow because you're nurtured by Christ. He keeps taking you to new vistas and new things in your life because life grows and we grow. And the Father says, I am growing in you that you may look and be more and more like me. Constant growth. Then too, there's the whole idea of water. Water means that it comes and flows. It comes in abundance, and then there's times when there's no water, like we're still in a drought in California. Yet the Father says, I still sustain you, because the tree's roots will grow deeper and deeper to find the water. Each of us has living water coming to us every day, even in the midst of this pandemic, even in the midst of these variants that keep coming. The Father says, I'm still feeding you with living water that you may grow and that you may know that I am with you and for you. Growth, because you're planted by a stream of living water. You're also firmly planted. Growing up, we had two trees in my front yard. One was a buckeye tree. Nothing was moving that tree. That thing was planted there. It was not moving. The winds would come, the hurricanes would come, the snow would come, the rain would come. It is firmly planted. It is not moving. We had a tree closer to the house. I don't quite recall what kind it was. The buckeye tree is easy because it bore buckeyes. But every once in a while when the wind would blow, this tree would just kind of shimmy a little bit. It's kind of shake. One is firmly planted. The other one is kind of shaking. But then I noticed something. That when the strong winds would blow from the hurricanes and the thunderstorms and things that would come through, this tree would bend and then come back. It would bend and then come back. And what's going on here? One tree is firmly planted, it's not moving. The other one bends and comes back. What happens there? What's the similarity there? It is simply this, that both of those trees are firmly planted. And the buckeye tree shakes a little bit and sways as the wind blows through the branches, but this other tree bends at the trunk and comes back because it is firmly planted. In our lives, that same thing happens. There are times when we are firmly planted, we're not moving. Other times when we bend because of adversity and other troubles, when we come back because we are firmly grounded and rooted in the Father. Second one is fruitfulness. That each of us will bear fruit in our season. No matter whether you realize it or not, all of us fructify. All of us bear fruit. The question is, what kind of fruit are we bearing? As God's person, we're bearing fruit that blesses people, that encourages people. Think in your life, those times when people have just kind of indicated how you blessed them. It may be years gone past. But you're bearing fruit. Why are you bearing fruit? Because you are exhibiting the Father's presence each and every day. Why? Because you meditate on His law. Why? Because you walk in His presence. Why? Because you are firmly grounded and rooted in Him. Fruitfulness. Fruitfulness. What else does this psalm help us here? It says, the person's leaf does not wither. Think evergreens. Evergreens are always green. Yet there are times when they get a little yellow, but the green is always there. What's the idea behind not withering? The idea there is that life is always present in you. You do not wither. Yes, there will be times when you feel, God, I don't know what to do here. I don't know how to handle this, but the Father does, because His life is in you. And then there's a whole idea of legacy. Whatever you do, you prosper. You may not feel that way, but you prosper because the Father is with you. Those are the blessings the Father speaks into us. Legacy, blessing, life, growth. Because we're firmly planted in Him, because we delight in Him, we meditate with Him, for Him. Yeah, we as Americans define prosperity in some strange ways. But the real prosperity for us is this. Do people see Jesus in me? And that's the whole idea of letting the people see the Father in us as we do these things in Psalm 1. Amen. Be blessed today.